Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SmashBros AMA, brought to you by The Daily Dot. I, of course, am your host, Ian. I hate the name Double John. We got to come up with something else. Hit me on Twitter. Ian Barker here, of course, with second week in a row, my handsome left guy, Smash reporter extraordinaire, Jacob Wolf. Jacob, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Just hard day of work, hard week of work, lots of reporting, but I'm glad to be on the Smash show, get to relax and, talk some Smash.
Oh, we're not done yet, man. Don't relax. Don't let your guard down. We got SFat on the show later today.
I'm excited.
We can't pull any punches. Anyway, coming at you from the studio in Austin, Texas. Before we get to that, our SmashBros AMA, brought to you by The Daily Dot. We'd be remiss if we didn't discuss a couple of big things happening in the Smash universe. First off, we're going to go off the top with some results from Eclipse this weekend. We got a little news piece put together by the most handsome man in the studio. Let's take a look. Oslo played host to the biggest names in Melee this weekend. Did anyone solve Armada's Fox, or is there just no way to beat him? I'm Ian Barker, and this is the leaderboard. With Genesis just over the horizon, Eclipse kicked off the weekend with a veritable smorgasbord of international competitors looking for a warm-up before the big show. A dash of Plup, a sprig of Axe, some Leffen for flavor, and a little Armada to sweeten the deal. These country jokes doing anything for you? Europe's best showed some skill in the early going before hitting the gods and demigods of Smashdom. Spain's Over Triforce, Sweden's Android, and Germany's Ice ran all the way to the losers bracket semis before falling to the more experienced Axe and Plup. In the winners bracket, Leffen looked strong early, dropping only 2 games all tournament, but hit the wall against Armada in the winners bracket final. Axe put in yet another strong showing, beating Plup 3-0, but couldn't solve Leffen, falling in a sweep in the losers bracket final. Leffen looked refreshed and ready to challenge Armada in the grand final after handling Axe, but the TSM player's Swedish compatriot was just too much to handle in the Fox Ditto. With the win, Armada picks up his 13th title of the year and his 7th consecutive win since EVO in July. Also, if you enjoyed the country jokes, then mark this video with a like. Denmark. That guy gets better looking every time I see him. Joining us to talk a little bit about Eclipse result, a new guest to the show, a new contributor to the program, our Smash correspondent, Nebtune Pervez. Nabil, how's it going tonight, man?
Going great, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Well, let's kick off. People don't want to hear me talk anymore. Let's kick it off with your thoughts on the weekend that was in Eclipse. What do you got?
Eclipse was awesome. There was a lot of crazy things that kind of happened in terms of maybe the top 8, but even the stuff that kind of happened outside of it, like with Westfalls and whatnot, which was kind of unfortunate, a bit of a nuts kind of scenario. It's pretty interesting when I first went through and I kind of jumped in and I looked at the top 8. I was like, there's someone missing. Why is there no 2-tempo people? Oh God, Westfalls, what happened? And I jumped on and I saw the kind of the controversy. I'm like, God damn it, Weston. Apart from that, though, watching top 8 was fantastic because you got to see like some awesome European talent that maybe some people might not necessarily see the first time around. Like for me, my personal favorite Fox out there in Europe is Ice, and the thing this guy does out of wave shines into up smash is just mind-boggling. Like I feel like he's a fantastic example of what you can really do with this like 20xx kind of movement, and just a great representation from Sheiks, and I think it also just did a great job of highlighting the nuances, the differences between North American version versus PAL, and kind of the subtle differences between the two. But all in all, I think fantastic tournament. Of course, Armada rising to the occasion as usual, and against Leffen. I think there was a lot of fun moments, a lot of heartbreakers, but overall it was really interesting. It was a fun tournament to watch, definitely entertaining.
Well, you mentioned Westfalls, and in my personal opinion, him and Leffen are the 2 players I think that are like next in line to be the gods. Like the past year has been really, really successful for the both of them. Westfalls has really been killing it against all the gods. How did you feel when you found out, that he got eliminated that early due to such a bad technicality that's not actually him playing poorly?
It's So I've met Weston. I think the first time I met him was I met Wes Balls at Aftershock, and that was a couple months ago. And I met him for the first time, and he was a bit of a joker. I can kind of tell he has this personality. You're a bit of a nut. And when I hear about him picking Mewtwo and jumping in there, I was like, okay, so he's being Wes Balls. And then I hear he's like, yo, that was a hand warmer. And and I can imagine with a bit of the language barrier and everything else going on, I was like, this is going to turn ugly. And the fact that he didn't immediately go to the TO and be like, hey, this is not good. This is not what it was meant to happen. This is the disagreement. Or at least just, I don't know. It seemed like he just kind of had a poor decision making. And I feel like it's not unlike him. I mean, we've seen this guy go DK in pools because he thinks he's just going to raffle stomp people and then just outperform people because he's West Balls. I mean, he's a great player. He's a fantastic guy. He's someone who has grown significantly, specifically due to 20XX, and has seen vast improvements over the last few years. And you're totally right about it, that he's definitely one of the next in line after Leffen. So I was definitely disheartened, but I don't know. It's kind of like, if you didn't have the reputation for picking dumb characters and then going into bracket and doing these sort of things and then having this, I'd be like, I'm totally on your side, dude. Like, that would suck, like, for a hand warmer. But considering he had the reputation and he kind of had this happen, I was like, God, dude, this is so unfortunate. But I don't know, what can you do?
It's tough to see a really strong contender like that get out so early. I was also a little bit disappointed, I'll say, with the final, 4 rounds, the losers bracket final, the losers bracket semifinal, the winners final, and the grand final. And it actually reminded me of, if you've ever seen Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, where everybody's like running through those walls that have like curtains down, and some of them are a doorway and some of them are a wall, and it was like Axe runs through, Plup hits the wall, Armada runs through, Leffen hits the wall, Axe runs through with Leffen, and Axe hits the wall. I mean, it's such an interesting point to be at in Melee, that we've got the gods and then we've got these guys that just hit these walls. You know, what is it about these players that they can't seem to overcome it?
You know, some people, it's more mentality. Sometimes it's like it's honestly, you have a bad day. Sometimes it's the roll of the dice and you have this problems. You know, it's interesting because when you think about like the tiers in kind of Melee right now, it's like, it feels like Armada is very much up here, and then you kind of have the rest of the gods, and then you have Leffen, and then you have Plup, you have West Balls, you have like Axe, and you have all these like guys that are just right there on the cusp. And I think Wobble said it best, is like, what it takes to get to a top level, you can do that very fairly easily with the amount of work, the dedication. 20XX is a great tool that you can really use. But once you reach that top echelon, once you reach that top 1% kind of level, right? The growth that you get over a course of a year is so small, and it's constant, and you're breaking your back trying to do it, but what you gain is so small. And sometimes it's just some days that some people show up to perform, and you make in Melee 2-3 mistakes and you're behind the other guy. I mean, that's the meta, man. If you show up and you unfortunately make a couple of mistakes, the punish game is so strong in Melee that you could be out of luck and you could be out of the money sometimes.
So the recent Games Award, there's been a lot of controversy around it, but the Games Award, we were one of the nominees, like the Daily Dot was, our editor, and he asked our opinions on, who's the best esports players of this year, which was one of the things we were asked to nominate for. Obviously, we nominated Armada because he was, such a key player this year to Smash Melee, and, it's had a really big resurgence. Things like DreamHack and MLG, MLG's back, DreamHack is hosting tournaments now, and this guy's just winning everything. Like, what do you think separates him from, like, the other gods, Leffen, Westball's Axe, all these players that are also up there with him? Why is he better? Why is he that better?
It's hard, right? Like, the best way to put it is he just outsmarts people, and he doesn't make mistakes. I think that a big thing is that when you play these games, especially games that are like super punish heavy at the highest level, the biggest thing is like, you need to show up and have the execution to do the things that you want to do, right? Which is already a hard part about platform fighters, right? Particularly Melee, where it's just like, you have so much based around the execution base, right? So you have to first be able to make sure that you're consistent on that. He doesn't drop stuff. You have to make sure that you have the characters to deal with things, because considering the meta, it's so it's back and forth sometimes, right? When it comes to the countering and the technicalities with that. So when you have those sort of elements and you have all those in mind, it's like, great. I now have you can lose at the character select screen, but Armada has done such a great job of saying, I have the characters I need to deal with this current meta. And when he has these characters, he has great decision making, he has great execution. I don't honestly know what it's going to take for this guy to fall. He's shown nothing but like this incredible wall of strength this past year, and it feels like it's there's not really a crack in the armor just yet. Even at Eclipse, you notice that he never played Peach against Leffen, and I mean the reason being is that he plays that matchup all the time. So Fox on Fox, I mean it seemed a bit more favorable for him. So he just ran with it, and he just makes great decisions even at the character select screen. So I think Armada's decision making, like in the metagaming that goes even outside of it, it's just fantastic.
No, I totally agree, and I think it's almost infiltration-esque if any of you are Street Fighter fans out there, the way that he can pick and counter-pick, and he's got this stable of characters that he's just so strong with. Now, before we head over to SFat, and while we got you on the show, I want to talk a little bit about the $1,000 elephant in the room, which, of course, is Leffen versus SFat. So I think the first question that has to be asked, a lot of people in the chat are Leffen fans. Obviously, Leffen's shown a lot of strength lately. Does SFat have a shot in this matchup against I hope I don't regret asking that, because he's going to be on the show later.
In my opinion, absolutely not. He has a great record with him. He against Leffen. Well, there's a couple of things. They've actually played 3 times this year. 2 times were money matches, and one of them was on stream, and that was at Press Start. And at Press Start, it was pretty cool to watch because they went back and forth, and they did fantastic combo games between the two of them. And honestly, towards the end, Leffen kind of fell apart a little bit. So as long as and to be frank, like Leffen's been having a bunch of problems lately. Like even at Eclipse, this guy was like having nosebleeds and tons of problems and illness and all this stuff. And I really hope that it's not going to be the case when it comes to DreamHack. But I feel like while Leffen is fantastic, he does great things. He's beaten 5 of the gods. That's all fine and good, but you still lose to other guys like that aren't gods. And as much as people want to put him up as demigod, when people ask me, I call him the usurper. I call him the guy that's trying to rise up and take the power from these people, from these gods. So I think that SFat honestly has a great shot. Out of 3 matches, 2 of them were money matches. He's won both of them, and on stream he's won that one as well as Press Start. I think SFat has a great opportunity to take it. I don't think that Leffen is infallible. I think he makes mistakes just like everybody else. And I'll be really excited to see not only that, but also Westball's coming up as well too.
Do you think that Leffen struggles in Fox v Fox matches? Because a lot of the only god that really plays Fox all the time now is Armada, and he loses to Armada when it's Fox v Fox. Do you think other talented Foxes give him trouble more than like a Jigglypuff or a Marth or a Sheik or a Falco or other characters? Do you think it's a character versus character thing more than it is a player thing?
I think that particular matchup though is very volatile between the two of them, right? Like Fox v Fox, I think prime examples was when we saw at Press Start, when we saw those two duke it out. There were just moments where Leffen jumped at the wrong time, and SFat was like, "Boom, shine, we're done," right? And the ability to have something like that's so powerful as a shine that can just call out actions and just say straight up, "You're wrong. I think you're going to jump here. I'm going to call it out and completely destroy you." That's awesomely powerful, and I think that between the two of them, they have they're both kind of different play styles, right? Because I think that SFat does a good job of knowing when to pump the brakes, right? Because you look at Fox, he's such a super aggressive character at these times. You can play him however you'd like. You want to play him a little bit zony, you want to camp a little bit, that's cool. Change the tempo up. But if you want to go in there and be aggressive, you have all the opportunities in the world to do so. But I feel that SFat does a great job of knowing when to pump the brakes and knows kind of add those stutter steps in there, right? And make sure that he adds that little extra mix up at times. So I think SFat is a really smart guy, very calculated, very cunning, and I think the same could be made about Leffen, but I don't know, man. I don't know if Leffen is necessarily someone who has problems against foxes, or if it's just that the people he's playing against, the high caliber foxes, are just that great decision makers. It's kind of hard. I think the prime example is still Armada, and I think Armada just makes great decisions and just plays them. I don't think it comes down to execution at all. I think that straight up Armada just outguesses them in the levels of the Yomi.
I love the reference to Yomi, first of all. Let's wrap up the discussion. It's your call. Everybody on the desk gets a turn at this. It's a first to five money match. Money match? What is the final series score when a player walks out with $1,000?
I will give it 5-4 SFat.
5-4 SFat. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that too. I think it's going to be really close, but I think given the matchup history, SFat will win.
I am going to be the contrarian on the panel, and I'm going to say 5-4 Leffen. Leffen overcomes his demons. He finally gets that sweet, sweet revenge after press start, and he wins the money match. Nabil, thank you so much for being on the show, man. We hope to see you around another time.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit about this money match, because I think the most interesting thing about it is that how much money is on the line, right? $1,000. We're talking about a prize pool that is bigger than the first place prize for a large number of Smash tournaments. I mean, what does that do to you as a player to sit there? I
mean, I don't Leffen's part of TSM. I'm sure he has a good bit of money to lose if he really wants to throw it up there. But overall, I'm hoping that I'm hoping to see a good matchup. And I don't know, $1,000 is really hype, and I think that's why they're throwing it at each other. So I'm really looking forward to this money match.
Well, fortunately for the fans in the watching the show today, someone who is directly involved in this money match could talk a little bit about the hype. Bringing on the show, introducing at what is this beautiful 6 o'clock hour, Zach SFat Cordoni. Zach, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. We were just talking about you.
All right.
We're just talking about. I mean, I hear a lot of people are talking about you right now.
I guess so.
a lot to talk about. Welcome to the show. Of course, people don't want to hear us talk. They want to hear what you have to say. So let's. Are you ready to get down to the questions? That's what people came here to see.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be here. I'm ready to go.
Excellent. Well, let's go ahead and kick things off with our first question coming to us from JFM 2796. I don't think I can mispronounce that too badly. JFM wants to know, a lot of players in the top 7 to 15 range have talked about how difficult it is to keep up with the Big Six's rate of improvement and manage to close that gap. Is there anything you learned at the summit that you think may give you the edge to try and close that gap?
It's hard to think of something particular about it because the summit was so great because it was like a training camp of just the top 16, well, most of the top 16 players in the world, and just nonstop. It's hard to pick out small things, but overall, I did learn a lot. Definitely picked up some things about people's habits that I wasn't quite aware of before, and just talking with everyone about every different matchup for 4 days was really great.
So this is the Beyond the Summit tournaments are like a regular thing in Dota where all these teams go and they stay in the house together. They basically live together for a short period of time and play through these tournaments. Since this was the first Smash Summit, what are your thoughts after it and hanging out with all these players for an extended period of time? Some of these people you've only hung out with at dinners and stuff.
It was absolutely spectacular. It was by far the best Smash experience I've ever had. And I hope that they put on another one because it was literally amazing. And it was really great too to see all these different people because when usually I see these guys, I see them behind a controller, and I see them as Plup or Mewtwo King. But this time around, I really got to see them on a different light, and I got to see Justin or Jason. I got to see Adam, I got to see who they really were as opposed to just that player persona they put on.
Do you think people change a lot when they step behind the controller, when they're sitting next to you and you're in locked horns with them?
Not most people, but there is that competitive atmosphere. Everyone does tense up a little bit. Everyone wants to win. Everyone does what they have to win too. So it's not exactly the most friendly atmosphere, but I don't think they changed too much.
Well, that's cool. And it must be nice. I mean, I'm sure it's nice to interact with fans, but did you find that it was maybe a little bit easier for you to get in the zone, knowing that you were free of distractions? I mean, you were basically just around a house, so you didn't have to keep running back to your hotel room, things like that. Was it a little bit easier with less outside interaction?
Yeah, I would say so for sure because, it was maybe 20 people in the house total, including the competitors, and so, there weren't a lot of distractions, like you said, or interactions, and we really could just focus on the game. We could really it was just us, the game, and gameplay, and it was comfortable. We were just in a house. It was like being at home, playing at home. So that was what was really nice about it, also.
And I think that the Melee competition of the version of the Beyond the Summit is unique in the way that it captures how people play Smash Brothers. I mean, when guys like Jacob and I, or you, or anybody who was playing Melee back when it came out played, we were in an environment just like that. We had our buddies back on the couch. Everybody was waiting for their turn to sub in. It seems like the most natural environment in the world for you guys to be playing there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Well, we've got another question. I'm actually curious. The shade is. I was going to say I'm curious to hear when the flame wars are going to start between you and Leffen, but they have already started.
Oh yeah.
Melee the Beast wants to know, CLG PewFat, when are you going to 5-0 Leffen? So it sounds like we got a two-parter.
CLG PewFat. That has a nice ring to it.
Is that a confirmation? Are we getting a scoop on the air?
No. I think it's pretty out there now that we're definitely in talks, but nothing is set in stone, and so that's as far as I can say about that.
That's fair.
And am I going to 5-0 Leffen? I don't think it's going to be a 5, but I'm definitely going to beat him.
You're going to be okay. We challenged the guys at the top of the show to come up with a series score. You're closer to this situation than anybody. What's the final series score?
In our past sets, so we've played 3 this year, and every single one it's gone the exact same way. He's won the first 2 games, and then I've won the next 3. And so I think the final set is going to be 5-3 in my favor.
I love it.
He's going to win the first 2. I'll win the next 3. He'll probably win 1 more, and then I'll close it out.
So I think I did a TAFO talks with the man himself, TAFO Kentz, when organizations started to get into it. Since CLG appointed their new CEO, Melixia, he has been pretty outgoing about finding new Smash players. I remember Nakat asked in an AMA with Melixia on the CLG subreddit, he said, are you looking for Smash 4 players? And now we see CLG Nakat. What do you think? And obviously he said, on Twitter, we're going to look into SFat because you and PPU did so well. So, what are your thoughts on all these bigger organizations, like TSM, signing Zero, Liquid signing Nairo, Nakat getting signed by CLG, and all these bigger esports organizations from League of Legends and Counter-Strike coming into these games?
I think it's amazing. I think it's great. I think it's exactly what Smash needs to keep on going. Because for top players, the game is fun and all too, but it totally brings another incentive into playing, and it kind of makes us able to play for longer too. And I think if organizations do start picking up teams like PewFat or Team UGS or maybe even Axe and Plub, I don't know. Well, no, they're already picked up, but but it would just do so much for the Smash community. It would totally bring a whole new realm into Smash.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because one of the most just perplexing things about Smash, I think, is the fact that you guys have so much passion for the game. You're willing to fly all over the place. And honestly, I hate to keep bringing it up, but there's not even a guarantee that you'll make back the cost of your plane ticket. So for you guys to be in a position where you feel like you can put a grand on the line against Leffen, is that an indication that maybe we esports now? I mean, are we esports now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I think that's as good of an indication as any, right? I would say so.
Hashtag we esports.
I really enjoy like the money match environment because that doesn't really happen in other games. I know that there's like a show match for IEM San Jose and League this weekend between the Intel CEO and Mark Cuban, but like there's no like there's nothing quite like money matches in any other esport, and so it's really cool to see that.
What if Fnatic called up TSM and said,
let's do a money match.
Challenge you to a $50,000 money match? I mean, that'd be hype, right? That could be hype. People pull out some pocket picks. I don't know. I think it's got place in other esports. Tell us as somebody who's been in a couple of money matches, what's different about that sort of game versus when you run into somebody in a tournament?
Well, money matches are actually they're fairly similar to tournament matches, and that's what makes them so great is because it's like you get that experience of a tournament match without actually being in a tournament. So that's and doing so many of them gets you kind of more relaxed in that kind of high pressure, intense situation. If people are having troubles with the tournament nerves, which is a really common problem, I would recommend just going out to your locals and money matching people, just random people, or even the top players too, because you can learn a lot from money matching top players. They'll actually put in a little bit more effort than just friendlies.
I had a guy in the YouTube comments challenge me to a money match at Genesis for like $5, which makes me nervous because that's like my per diem for Genesis. So we'll have to see how that goes. Anyway, moving on forward with the questions. Miles111 wants to know. Also, let me say to Melee to Best, I'm sorry I messed up your name. I said Melee to Beast. It's Melee to Best. You get all the credit in the world. Miles111 wants to know, is there any chance of... You knew these questions were going to happen. Is there any chance of you collaborating with Westballs to create a new Leffen diss track? These are the top voted questions, folks. If you don't like them, just keep in mind you made this happen. This is your fault. So, SFat, your response.
No, there's no chance. I don't care about diss tracks or whatnot. I really only care about playing well and beating him. So that's all there is.
I do have to say, we've never spoken before outside of this interaction right here, but I'm sort of struck by the fact that you don't seem like the kind of guy who's gonna go swag out on Leffen. You don't seem like the confrontational type. You like how does that happen?
All right, so Leffen is notorious for his Leffen jabs on Twitter, right? He'll whatever's going on at whatever tournament, he's got to comment on someone's play, right? And not to play the victim, but he has picked on me quite a few times. And so back in May or April or whenever, before the first tournament match we played, I kind of was just sick of his shit. Sorry,
it's all right.
It's all good.
You're good.
And
we're not
so
that
I was
esports.
I think you're really easy to read, and I think you're easier to read than Green Eggs and Ham. So I called him out. I was like, I'm tired of you. Someone needed to teach him a lesson, and so that was kind of my main driving force going into press start, and I think it worked. I think I got in his head a little bit, and then so this time around. He's been making jabs at my punish game, not being as strong specifically at Smash Summit. So I thought I'd make a jab at him too, commenting on his punish game at Eclipse. But of course, Leffen can't take what he dishes out, so he got a little salty and it just escalated real quick into this money match.
You said you're not making a diss track. I think it's happening live right now. So
Man,
heads up.
We should get those the guys that auto-tune like television shows.
The auto-tune the news guys. We're gonna make it happen. We'll make some calls.
But yeah, it's like as a League reporter and Counter-Strike reporter, I'm really happy to like now be writing a lot about Smash because it's really nice to see this trash talk and like seeing you guys just kind of like go at it and $1,000 money match. It's hype. It's a lot of fun. So
Yeah, no question about that. Well, obviously, I'm sure we'll have a lot more ground to cover regarding the money match later in the show. But for right now, we're going to move on to our next question, which is Dr. Chowder, who wants to know, why did you also decide to stand up during the last game of your set against Hungrybox at press start? Do you think it helped or hurt you?
So that was a really hype set. I think, well, okay, so I was also up against 2-0 against Hungrybox, and on the last game, I was actually up 3 stocks also, and it was a little bit of me choking, and it just kind of felt like this presence, this like he had so much presence right next to me, and I just needed to like shake it off of me, and the only way that I could do that in the moment was to stand up too, and it was kind of funny if you look at the video, you see him like do a quick take at me, like, "Whoa, did that just happen?" And it probably didn't help me that much, but it helped me calm myself. So I think that was what was most important. It didn't help my play that much better. I don't really practice standing up, so it didn't help in that regard. But internally, it helped a lot. So that's why I did it.
Is it that big of a difference sitting down versus standing up? I mean, then again, standing desks are the way of the future in the workplace. So maybe you're just making the ergonomic choice.
I don't know, to be honest. That was kind of like the only time I've ever stood up playing Melee ever. So in that regard, it probably wasn't that wise of a decision, but it felt good. I don't know. It felt right.
I'm just waiting for the first Smasher to lie down on the stage and beat somebody.
Well, Rudolph. I don't know if you guys know Rudolph from Japan. He does the Sphinx position where he gets like 3 chairs and plays lying down like this.
Holy crap, man, that's beautiful.
Does it work? Does he win? Like,
yeah, it works for him. Yeah, he's like the best Marth in Japan right now. He stayed at my house a couple months ago for about a week.
Did he grab 3 chairs from you and just lay out while you're practicing?
Yo, dog, you got 3 chairs I can use? I can't sit like a normal human being.
That's just his style. I don't know. It works for him.
Fair enough. And I think that's like the next dimension of the 20XX meta. There's controller port priority. What color is your fox? Obviously, colors have become a new part of the meta. And then, of course, do you stand? Do you Sphinx? Do you downward dog? That's I'm interested to see how that affects the meta of the future.
Sure. It's all about being comfortable, man.
Yeah,
it's all about being comfortable.
And if you're comfortable looking like an ancient Egyptian monument, that's up to you, man. Anyway, moving on to our next question. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you are.
Oh yeah, I'm having a blast with you guys. I'm having a blast.
Up Throw Rip wants to know. Love that name, by the way. Up Throw Rip wants to know who do you consider to be the best teams right now? What makes each of them unique, and what do you think holds them back? So let's go with the first part of that question. Who do you think are the best teams right now?
All right, I'm going to be totally biased right now, but it's who I think is the best. I think PewFat is the best. Me and Pew Pew you. And then I think Team UGS is number 2 with Armada and Android. And then it's a tough call. I don't know. I would probably say Leffen and Ice, but Mango and Lucky are big contenders too. And even Leffen and McCain or MacD are big contenders also.
Also, like, there's recently some beef between Hungrybox and Mewtwo King, and now they're like split. And Hungrybox just announced that he's going to be teaming with Axe. Like, do you think they'll be as good as Hungrybox and Mewtwo King were, or like, what are your thoughts on those two teaming?
Wow, I didn't even know that. Hungrybox and Axe. I don't feel like that's going to be a really great team, just because Axe kind of is like. He's like a fox where he does a lot of what he's good at taking care of himself, but so is Hungrybox. So I don't know, it could work. I think Plup and Hungrybox were a great team because of the way they both controlled space. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I can't really see it being a good team, but I don't know.
Now I do have to call you out for a second because Pew Pew you being your teammate. I was taking a look at your results earlier, and I noticed that you got a second place finish at NorCal Regionals, and that's you lost to your teammate. You got a fourth place at Northwest Majors, and that was also to your team. So what is it? You team with a guy because he's got your number? What's going on there?
Well, I guess you didn't see the I'm Not Yelling results where I beat him out to get in the top 8. Or
I did not mention those.
I don't know. In NorCal, we just kind of have this trifecta going on with Shroomed, Pew Pew, and I. And I don't know, we kind of each have our own season where we tend to be better than the other two. Kevin or Pew Pew rather, being really good in like spring and early summer, and DeJuan just like being really strong in the summer also. And then I think I kind of am really good in the winters for some reason. But we just rotate, you know. It's a weird dynamic we have.
Gentlemen's agreement.
So what do you think about DeJuan getting sponsored? That was something I got to break on the Daily Dot. What do you think about him getting sponsored and not you yet?
Oh, I think that's great. I'm so happy for DeJuan because we've all been working for it really hard. You know, I wasn't. I mean, I was a little jealous, but obviously, I'm super happy for him, and I know mine is coming. So I'm glad that we're finally all getting to that point, though, where we don't really have to worry about, you know, travel costs as much anymore, and we can just really focus on the game and like put all our efforts into the gameplay.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing that I'm noticing, because everybody's very proud of their region, you know, Melee not being a game with online play, you obviously have to practice with the people you're around. Having better opponents makes you better, and everybody sort of rises up because of that. With Pew Pew you joining CLG and then Shroom joining Winter Fox, is that just a sign that you guys, that NorCal's finally getting its due, or did you guys make some improvements over that time as the game grew bigger?
I think probably both. I mean, we have been putting in a lot of work over the past couple of years. So I think it's just a matter of time, really. Like, as long as we keep grinding it out and keep playing the way we play, it's just a matter of time before things started to come our way.
Interesting. Before we go forward with our next question, I have to say I'm confused because Deepog wants to know, what are your hobbies / interests outside of Smash? And as far as I knew, this was the SmashBros AMA. And so, I mean, we know you don't do anything besides Smash, but assuming in some fictional world that you did, what would be these mythical fake hobbies that you would do besides playing the greatest game ever made?
Well, I'm really into psychology. I'm really into behaviors. I'm into why people do the things that they do. So that's a big thing, and it kind of ties into Smash too. Reading people's habits and why they choose that option over another option. I also play a little bit of the guitar. I'm relatively new though, so don't expect anything. But I like coming home from a long tournament and just playing the guitar because it's so relaxing. Doing something other than, you know, holding a controller for 4 days in my hand. But
so playing Leffen isn't really a match for you. It's more like your dissertation, right? The ins and outs, the psychological habits of the enraged Smash player.
You could say that. I'm not treating the money match. You know, I'm not stressing about it. I'm not treating it any differently than any other match. My main priority going into DreamHack is for sure winning teams, because I think that will solidify PewFat as the best team right now. And then singles, of course, performing well on singles. And then the money match is like a cherry on top. You know, I'm not going to be stressing about it. Of course, I'm practicing really hard, but that's just a bonus $1,000 in my pocket.
Oh, we love it when shots are fired on this show. And it's funny that you say that you play the guitar, because I could easily see you lying against a tree in the middle of campus with some ladies, just like, I call this one the downfall of Leffen. I think that'd be beautiful. Moving on to our next question.
That's the actual diss track, dude.
Yeah,
it's a guitar solo. You got like.
Would a diss ballad hit harder than a diss track? I think, because I think it would, like a minstrel style total breakdown of Leffen and his many faults. I think that would hit a lot harder than a diss track.
Maybe I'll think about it.
Get on that. I'd be happy to produce it for you. Anyway, moving on to our next question. My post has, welcome back to the show. We've seen you a few times. Always great questions. Thank you so much for submitting again. My post has wants to know, how was the Smash Summit experience? You spoke a little bit about this earlier. How do you feel about the challenges, doubles, singles, etc.? Speak a little bit more on the second half of that. I am curious how you guys felt about the challenges that Smash put on, because those were very unique.
Yeah, they were. We going into it, none of us really were sure about the rules except PP. PP, for some reason, memorized all of them. But I don't know. They were really cool. I really liked how they gave us each $200, and then each challenge was $50 on the line, and the rules were a little bit all over the place, but it was just a really cool experience because anyone could challenge anyone. And then there were those mind games of redirects. So each player got 2 redirects. So if you didn't want to play someone, you redirected them to someone else. And it was cool because Zoo got challenged by Mewtwo King in teams, and he redirected it to me and Kevin. And so that was really cool. So we got some good practice against Mewtwo King and Armada. And then the same happened with Mango challenging Zoo, I think, or maybe I don't know what happened, but we got to play Mango and Lucky again through a redirect. And so I really liked that system. It was awesome. And then doubles was the highlight for me. I don't know. I love teams. I don't know what else to say about that. And then singles I wish I did a little bit better. And I've watched my videos a lot, so I know what I need to work on, and I have been working on it since then. And I'll continue to work on it till next week.
You know what? Let's actually talk about that a little bit, because we haven't had a lot of people on the show come on and speak so passionately about doubles. What is it about that game type, the way the dynamic, maybe even your partner Pew Pew, that makes you enjoy that game mode so much?
Well, so Kevin, Pew Pew, and I have known each other for like 10 years. We started together playing Melee, and so it was just naturally we just played teams together. There were always more than 4 of us wanting to play at a time. So we played teams a lot. And teams, it's so unique to every other fighting game with, 4 players on the screen, so many variables being tossed around everywhere. You need to keep track of not only yourself and your teammate, but your opponent and their teammate. It's just a lot to take in, and the combos can be so much more unique than in singles. There's so much more you can do in teams.
I don't know if Zoo feels the same way. I don't know if he shares your passion. Poor Zoo.
Poor Zoo.
Poor Zoo. Moving on to our next question, we've actually got one. I believe this is a new contributor, Beatbot3000. Beatbot3000 wants to know, who is the most fun non-God player to watch in your opinion?
Most fun non-God player. Other than myself? I don't know who is. Maybe Lucky. Lucky is really fun to watch. I learn a lot from watching his videos. Plup is also a lot of fun to watch, just because he has such control over his characters, Sheik and Samus both, that it's just really interesting. You can kind of see the passion he has for Melee in his gameplay.
Break down Plup a little bit for us, because he's, as far as I know, one of the only people to crack the top 8 this year, having played Samus at a tournament. If I'm forgetting anybody, I greatly apologize. I'm on very little sleep. But what is it about the way that Plup plays Samus that allows him to get to a level that other people don't? I mean, he's almost like the hungry box of Samus. What makes him so special in that regard?
I think he just explores a lot of movement options that other Samus players don't fully utilize. For example, the up air cancel when you come off the ledge into a no impact landing. Like he was the first one that I saw that just like totally implemented that. And he just it's the way he moves around the stage and the way he finds his hits that. He's so fast too. Other Samuses aren't usually that fast, so I think that's what kind of gives him the edge on that character.
So overall, with Samus, do you think that like the character has potential? Do you think the character has potential if played by the proper player to be like top tier? I had this conversation with Hugs, but like I want your thoughts on that too. So.
I don't think Samus will ever win a really large tournament. No. I think Samus can keep getting top 8, but I don't think Samus will ever win. I think Samus is around 10 or 11 right now. I think Yoshi is number 9 in my opinion, and then Pikachu at number 10, and then probably Samus, or maybe even Dr. Mario above Samus.
I feel like every week that we have somebody on and the question askers ask about a low tier character, thousands of people have their dreams just absolutely crushed. You know that there's a Samus main out there who's thinking, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the guy to win a major. And, you just killed his spirits. How do you respond to that?
Welcome to Melee. I don't know.
Oh, the game.
No patch bonanza, boys.
No patch bonanza. Absolutely. Moving on to our next question. This one comes to us from Link Ditto Please, who asks, what do you think is the most important skill a top 20 in the world player possesses that an average player does not?
That's a good question. Probably the mental fortitude to endure a tournament, because it takes a lot of mental energy to play this game for 3 days straight. Even a full day is a long time, so I think that's something the top 20 players have really not yet mastered, but gotten a hold of that the average player hasn't quite tuned in yet.
Do you think that sponsorships are helping that, allowing players to, practice more and overall, like, not having to worry? Like, some of these players don't even have day jobs anymore because they have sponsors who are helping them keep afloat while they hone their craft.
Oh, yeah, totally. Sponsorships completely help. Like, Armada, if Armada wasn't sponsored, he wouldn't be able to play 8 hours a day before a tournament. So, the fact that he can do that and not have to worry about everything else, I think that is so important and so cool.
Well, for those of us who haven't quite made it onto CLG's Blackberries yet, my question for you is, what is the one thing an average player, somebody sitting at home who's maybe pretty good in their local scene but wants to get better, thinks that they want to compete on a national level, what is the one thing they can do today that will make them a better player?
I would say really, really practice your tech skill. Practice your tech skill to the point where you don't need to think about what buttons you're pressing. And instead of thinking at the micro level, you can start thinking at the macro level of this game. You can start thinking about, which moves beat which moves and which options you need to choose in certain situations. Because that's what us top 20 players think about. We don't think about how are we going to wave dash, or how to wave dash out of shield, or how to wave shine. That's already ingrained in our minds and in our hands. We're really just thinking about habits and which option would be best in this situation.
Excellent.
So.
Well, our next question comes to us, and at this point, we might want to rename this from the SFat AMA to the Leffen versus SFat AMA because we're getting. Hey, you've made a lot of buzz this week. I don't know if you've noticed. Rushdrum wants to know what. Rushdrum says, of the nearly endless choices, bothers you about Leffen the most, or is the relationship simply professional competitive trash talk?
What bothers me the most about Leffen? Well, it's really just his attitude towards players that he doesn't respect or who he deems as lower than his own, or who he sees lower than himself. And it's just his attitude really that bugs me. Though I will say this, I only know Leffen. I don't know William, and a lot of people have told me that William is a cool guy, and he's outgoing, he's very sociable. But Leffen, I only know Leffen. William we haven't met yet. So maybe when Leffen looks me in the eye at tournaments, I'll meet William someday. But till then, it's just Leffen.
I kind of can I just say I think it's fitting that if you do get picked up by CLG, this will continue the CLG TSM rivalry that's in other games.
Holy crap, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. You have to sign with them now. Can you we have time. Can you call them now? This needs to happen.
Hey, well, if you guys want me on it, and this to all the viewers watching, just tweet at Melixia, tweet at CLG, just remind them, because it is sort of hard to get in contact with them, but I am talking to them. But reminders will always help. So
that'll be the first thing I do after this show. Can we do that for the .esports? Okay, thanks. Anyway, this next question is kind of perplexing to me because I watched the Smash Summit. I wasn't aware of what happened here, but Ninja Penguin 5 wants to know what happened between you and Mango at the summit.
Are we esports?
We're for this question, we're not esports yet. We're
all right. So I was just laying. We were in a hotel room. It was Armada, Shroomed, PPU, Mango, me, Smoke Two Joints, and we were. I don't know. We were just chilling. They were playing Melee, and Mango. A lot of people were drinking. I was not drinking. And I think I was just kind of antagonizing Mango a little bit, and he just started fighting me. Like, he just jumped on top of me and started. So there's this linguini they do in SoCal, so where they just punch your legs until until you give up. And so we were going at it for a while, and it was going even for a cool minute. And then he somehow got on top of me, and Mango, you need to lose some weight, man, because I could not get him off of me. He was just so big, and then eventually, PewView and Dewan or Shroomed had to pull him off because we were kind of close to a table corner, and so if they had given me more time, I totally could have gotten him off, but they just called it for safety reasons.
And then you wave shine up tilted him out the window. that would have been the finisher to end it all.
SFat confirmed Fox.
So basically, what you're telling me is that Mango picked on you like your big brother.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. And we kind of have that long history with each other where it's that big brother small brother rivalry. So. It's nothing new, really.
At any point, did he ask you why you were hitting yourself?
No. He could barely talk. He was so drunk.
Maybe it's all for the best.
Yeah.
We got a couple more questions before we close things out for the night. Our next one comes to us from Rowan SSB, or RON SSB, or Rao NSSB. Wants to know, do the top foxes share info and collaborate?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, totally. Because, we got to stick together. I mean, we might not share all of our secrets and everything, but we will share information when people ask. Like Lucky has probably taught me the most about Fox than any other Fox, just by talking to him and asking him about things. Silent Wolf has been another great help to me. And we always like share information with one another too. Even Leffen, I asked Leffen at Paragon Orlando, how to beat Peach or how he thinks about the Peach matchup, and he gave me a few helpful tips too. So,
Was one of those tips up throw up air? Because it's not really a secret anymore.
No, that was not one of those tips. But
if you don't use that, by the way, I suggest it. It apparently is very effective. So give it a shot.
Oh, okay.
Free of charge.
I haven't really used it, but I'll look into it.
Actually, that leads me to another question. Is that sort of thing common among Melee players? Is there sort of a fraternity of Foxes, a fraternity of Falcos? Is that a thing that you guys do where people work together for their and there's that one Ganondorf player. Poor Bizarro Flame has nobody to talk to when he goes to the majors.
Actually, I think there are quite a few Ganondorf players now.
Are there?
And I think there is, maybe not for the Foxes so much, but I know Sheiks like to stick together. I know that Samuses like to stick together. I know Ganondorfs, Captain Falcons. So I definitely think there is when you pick a character, it's easy to identify in one of these groups of people. So
I think
go
I think that's the next rooms at like a tournament. Fox is here, Falco's here. Everybody goes in theory crafts. What are we gonna do to beat these other a character showdown?
But then what do we do about all the dual mains? What do we do about Armada and Mango and Beach King? Maybe they can just be.
They don't need any help. If they're playing more than one character, they don't need any help. The Ganondorf booth would literally just you walk in and there's just a mini bar and you just drink away the sorrow.
All three of them.
They'll all be there because the first round of pools will be over. I'm sorry, Ganondorf. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, we got one more question before we close up shop. Let's actually, if you guys have any questions, we have a little bit of time. Maybe time for one or two chat questions. If you have a question in the chat, hit me up at mention ENJ3R. So that's ENJ Barker with a 3, and we'll try to get a couple of those read because we're having some fun. Why kill the party, right? Last question from the AMA. The Yak1715 wants to know: rank the top Foxes in order. And he apparently has his own opinions about it. Yourself, Hax, Mango, Silent Wolf, Armada, Lucky, Leffen, Kobol, and Ice.
Okay. Armada, number 1 for sure. And then I'm going to go ahead and say myself, because who wouldn't say themselves, right? And then probably Leffen, and then Mango, and then Lucky, and then probably Ice, and then Hax. I don't know. It gets cloudy at that point because, well, one, Fox is such a volatile character to begin with, and it's hard to measure, top level Foxes. But I don't know. It would go something like that: Armada, me, Leffen, Mango, Lucky, Silent Wolf. The reason I don't put Hax up higher is because we just haven't seen him in almost a year and a half now, so it's hard to judge what he's like right now.
I could understand that. Soup Ostrich is calling you out, by the way, saying you're better than Mango?
Oh, yeah. Better than his Fox. I'll beat him in a Fox Ditto. Easy.
We got looks like we're still waiting for a couple more chat questions to roll in. But I didn't see who asked it, but somebody wants to know why you got an eyebrow piercing.
Okay, well, because I'm still young. I'm only 21, and I wanted to do something crazy with my body before I got too old, so I figured now is the best time.
You wanted to do something crazy with your body, so you and Mango met in a hotel room. I couldn't help myself. Bloodguard wants, I'm sorry, actually Blueguard wants to know how fun was Mafia at the Summit? The Dota guys are infamous for their games of Mafia. How was it playing Mafia at Beyond the Summit house?
It was awesome. It was a lot of fun, and that was it was cool to have an activity other than Smash to play with everyone, because we got to see all these different sides of everyone. And it was really fun the first night because I was actually Mafia and no one suspected me. So we ended up winning. But the other 2 nights sucked because I got killed in the first night. And Lucky even deliberately said, if Zach dies the first night, kill me, I'm Mafia. And I die the first night and I just point at him and he ends up living until the end of the game. And I was like, are you guys kidding me? Like, did you not even hear him?
Was he Mafia?
He was, yes.
The smoke screen, I love it. That was beautiful.
Foo Fighter 000 ask, SFat, will you ever team with Dewan?
Oh yeah. I'll totally team. We have teamed before. We teamed at Paragon Orlando, and we got second. We almost actually won against Plup and Hungrybox in a really close set. So yeah, me and Dewan and I team really well with one another, just like me and Kevin. But Kevin is kind of my boy, and he's always going to be my first pick. So whenever Kevin's there, I'm just going to team with Kevin.
Do characters have any influence on that? Like Shroom's little character pool versus Kevin's character pool?
Not really, because I actually think Fox Chic is the second best team comp next to Double Fox. I think Double Fox is by far the best team. And then I think Fox Chic is the second best team because of Chic's kill power, her ability to stay alive, and just her mobility in general is much higher than Marth's by himself. But Pew Pew and I can just make Marth work. So,
well, there you go. Sometimes it's not about the I had a really good analogy that I realized it doesn't make sense. Rawful Captors wants to know, I noticed that people watching grand finals at the Summit were quiet like they were watching a tennis match. Do you think players would benefit from a quiet crowd?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Less distractions in general. But I don't think that will ever happen unless we kind of get those like soundproof booths like in StarCraft or something. I think if we started getting those, oh my god, that'd be so cool. But the crowd being rowdy and everything, that's like part of the experience of going to a tournament. So as long as you're not being disrespectful to whoever you're, cheering against, or rather just cheer for who you want to win, then I think it's totally fine. But I think players would definitely benefit from a more quiet space.
I wouldn't hold your breath. Half the esports tournaments that actually need soundproof booths don't even have them yet. So if you guys want to pay for them, you're more than welcome. Just bring like a cardboard box with like fiberglass insulation and just put it around you and be like, I need quiet, guys. This is my
It's my jam.
my ghetto sound booth. THSCO1 wants to know why doesn't Kevin like Toys R Boy?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. I think it's kind of catchy.
No, I do. I agree. And maybe it's because it's based on Roy's Our Boy, and he plays Marth. Maybe. I don't know.
Fire Emblem disses, man. Like
the Fire Emblem meta. Next question. We'll get a couple more of these, guys. If you're listening in the chat, go ahead and throw a couple our way. We'll get a couple more of these, and then we'll go ahead and close up shop for the night. What other games, Carl the Wombat wants to know, what other games do you like to play besides Smash?
I play a little bit of Hearthstone, a little bit of League of Legends, but not too much. Because, again, that game takes a lot of time, and I'd rather be spending my time playing Melee than anything else. I used to play a lot of other games like Dawn of War, if you guys know that one, or a lot of like RTS type games. So, but now it's really just all Melee.
It's hard. It's kind of hard to log into League of Legends sometime when you know you're going to spend 45 minutes getting yelled at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great community. Anyway, I'm sure there's plenty of just fine. Just quit making the Reddit post right now. It's not worth it. I'm not going to read
keyboard
it.
warriors.
The keyboard warriors are in effect. And then, you know what? This is what I'm curious about. And Fizdelf has said a lot of nice things about me. Take notes, everybody in the chat. Fizdelf wants to know, where do you put Ness in the tier list?
Ness. I think Ness could be actually really, really good if people started mastering the yo-yo glitch and the thunder jacket glitch, because that would make Ness just jump up in tiers. But until they start doing that, I think he's towards the bottom. I don't know. Probably, I think he's better than like Kirby, but
Not exactly high praise. Let's be honest here.
yeah.
And Tech the Fan asks, SFat, what are you going to do with Leffen's $1,000?
Hey, beautiful way to end the show. I love it. Let's hear it.
I don't know. Probably just save it. Save it for school.
That is the most disappointing answer you could have.
responsible, though.
I'm gonna throw it in a CD and let it mature with some invest. No, man, you go out. You're gonna buy something, anything.
I'm going to Disneyland. I don't know.
There we go. That's much better.
better.
We're gonna go with that. You heard it confirmed here. SFat going to Disneyland after he beats
After beating
Leffen. That will be. Be sure to send us you need to Instagram at least a couple selfies from Disneyland saying,
I made it.
Wish you were here at Leffen.
Hashtag we esports now.
We esports. Zach, thank you so much for coming on the show. Before we close up shop, any final words to any fans, sponsors, anything like that?
Shout outs to my teammate Pew Pew You. Shout outs to all of 650. 650 is the area code where I'm from. All the homies there. You guys know who you are. Shout outs to all of NorCal for raising me pretty much in this crazy game that has now become a lifestyle. And shout outs to my parents who endlessly support me in my endeavors, and younger brother too. So
excellent. Yeah. Zach, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute blast. Hope we can have you on another time. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week with another edition of the SmashBros AMA. If you enjoyed the show, hit us with a follow. I need to look at, there's the return. I think it's down there, or is it over here? I can never remember. Anyway, hit us with a follow. Check us out on Twitter @.esports. Check us out on Facebook, where we publish a lot of our news, some highlights from random tournaments. Catch up with us over there. And if you want to see this video afterwards, or maybe you missed part of it, check out the VOD over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/daily.esports. That's going to do it for us tonight. I've been Ian Barker. This has been Jacob Wolf. Zach Cardoni has joined us, and we will see you next week with another edition of the SmashBros AMA.